In this episode, we speak with Charisma Glassman, Partner, Vice President, and Global Head of Retail, Consumer, and E-commerce Advisory at Genpact. Charisma advises retail and consumer brands on AI, digital transformation, and operating model changes across subsectors including fashion, luxury, grocery, beauty, and e-commerce. Charisma brings more than 2 decades of experience across business and technology transformation. Before joining Genpact, she held leadership roles at Capgemini, Barclays, Citi, and Rave Digital, working across retail, luxury, financial services, and digital commerce. Her work has included large-scale AI transformation initiatives, customer experience strategy, growth planning, and post-merger integration. Charisma was recognized by the Consulting Report as a top 25 artificial intelligence consultant and leader of 2025, and a top consumer and retail consultant and leader of 2026. Genpact is an advanced technology services and solutions company that helps enterprises apply data, technology, and AI across operations and business functions. I'm your host, RJ Lumba. We hope you enjoy the show. If you like the episode, click to follow.
RJ Lumba is the Executive Chairman of Market Insight Media and Managing Partner of GrowthCap. He is the host of Top Consultant, a podcast featuring today's best consultants who advise and provide services to corporations, governments, nonprofits, and other organizations. Executives and key decision makers tune in to Top Consultant to identify the most knowledgeable and experienced consultants for their most important projects.
Charisma, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. It's a delight to be with you.
Thank you so much, RJ, for having me today.
So we'll have a nice conversation and we'll cover areas of your expertise. But maybe just to start, if you could give us a little bit of background on yourself and kind of where you sit within Genpact.
I'm Charisma Glassman. I am partner and global vice president for retail, consumer, and e-commerce applied advisory. So I help world's top retailers and consumer brands pivot to what we say towards advanced technology solutions. So we are the tip of the spear. We advise them, the CXOs, the board advisors, on how to really apply agentic AI and the latest and greatest technologies to get value from the investments.
Mm-hmm. And you've had a long history in technology and within different organizations. How did you get your start in the industry?
That's a great question. I believe my career has been a journey of continuous learning and a very deliberate path of growth. I started in corporate strategy at a major financial institution. Then I pivoted into advertising and marketing, where I developed strong analytical but creative skills and learned firsthand how large enterprises really make critical decisions. From there, I moved to management consulting, where I had the privilege of working with very set of diverse clients, tackling complex cross-functional challenges. So over the years of 2.5 decades across continents, I have done very senior, large transformation roles, client-facing roles. I've held progressively senior roles that have allowed me to build my expertise in change management, stakeholder management, executives, dealing with the boards, coming up with complex financial valuations, and delivering measurable results under very tight deadlines. I would say each chapter of my career, from starting from being an analyst or a creative person to an advisor leader, taught me something invaluable about what it takes to drive real impact.
Mm-hmm. And when did you get your start in the luxury and retail space?
I would say it's been about 15 years ago. I have been in and out of wealth and luxury sector, and I never really dabbled away. So worked with top brands. I worked with one of the fastest car companies in the world. It starts with F, if you would know. It's red in color. I helped them launch in Asia. And the journey really started there. Worked with the top luxury houses, from fashion to cars to hotels, and really curate those experiences both in the physical and the digital world.
I see. So is the majority of your consulting and advisory at that intersection of the customer experience as well as technology?
Absolutely, RJ. There, you nailed it.
Can you give us maybe an example of the types of client engagements you work on currently?
So they're very different kind of engagements. Every complex problem is different. For example, we're helping Portland's largest retailer, which is also a Fortune 1 company, and also a very boutique fashion brand, really helping them how to think through the future of work, how the reinvention of work will really happen. At the same time, focus on organizational transformation, organizational growth, which is growth strategy, and operational excellence. We sit with them not only how the humans will work in the future, but how they will work with the digital workforce. I work extensively with mid-market and Fortune 500 companies across the retail, luxury, beauty, consumer sector. And in the past, I've also worked directly with high tech, financial services, as well as healthcare technologies and healthcare sector as well. These type of engagements I and my team lead are very large scale AI transformation initiatives, sometimes post-merger integration, sometimes performance improvements, and really helping them drive two things. One is top line revenue growth and cost efficiencies.
Mhm. And, typically when it comes to deploying AI within some of these large enterprises, it's a multi-layered approach. And as you mentioned, it's both revenue driving as well as cost reduction. Are there certain software tools that you work with and help these companies understand how to deploy them?
That's a great question. We start with people and experience in the center. We don't see it as a tool per se, though we work with technologies. It is always a combination of people, processes, technology, and data when you're driving AI and large scale engagements. So, my short answer would be there is not a particular tool or tech. It cannot be just one thing, it's a combination of all the above.
And, I guess getting further into I mean, it's on everyone's mind on how to best use it. Is there a kind of a common problem or one area of the business that most of your clients will say, can you help us here first? It's the priority AI problem.
Yes. And it has shifted year over year, right? Earlier, it was like, we want to dabble and experience it and see what this magic is. So that was a couple of years ago, saying, what is this new thing, new shiny toy? We want to experience it. And that's what we say the pilot purgatory really started because everybody started developing their own chatbot in different silos, different departments. And there were lots of pilots, but they were not coordinated. Last year, we saw there were a lot of pilots, but they were not producing value. And that's what we say there was a value deficit. Now, the latest question on everyone's mind is how do we really drive proof with our investments? Is it really leading to productivity? Is it really leading to enhanced customer experience? So, what is that dashboard of metrics that would really drive value? How would you define value with AI in the next few years?
Mhm. You mentioned chatbots. Is that kind of that interfacing with the customer? Is that one area where your clients are really trying to figure out, or were those internal chatbots?
Both, I would say both, but I think chatbots have been very 2022, I would say.
Hmm.
And now it is all about AI at scale, driving values, more platforms. Anthropic is dropping, basically revamping the entire workflows and entire how work is actually being executed. How do
Mm.
you really interact with the customer? So chatbots were how we started the journey of transformation, and now it is about how do you implement that at scale in every part of the customer interaction, internally, employee interaction, and that's just interaction part, but also how you're executing work per se.
From the customer's standpoint, where would we see it? I guess, would we see AI at work when we're interfacing with a luxury brand, whether it be LVMH, Hermes, Tiffany? How would we know that that's happening?
So every brand, I would say luxury is a complex one. Every brand touches it very differently. A luxury consumer wants a white hand glove service, very hands on customer, very demanding customer. They do want the human in the loop, the human interaction, and they value that very much. So some brands, without naming them, have elevated the experience mostly behind the scenes. If you go to top hotels, they're doing a lot of reservations, they're knowing the customers, and KYC, know your customer, is really enhancing their preferences are all being managed by AI, but the front end service is being done by a human because that final touch, that special in luxury sector is still driven by humans. However, if you do mass market retail or mass consumer, the experience is very different. That customer doesn't demand that white glove service. They demand value. And they're ready to go away with the human touch and have that value at scale that digital transformation or AI transformation can really deliver.
So say, for example, Four Seasons or, a Mandarin, the difference would be that when we go to the counter, we're interfacing with a professional from that hotel, that they know a lot about us and our preferences. So it's really the data and having that at their fingertips. Is that what you, in some cases, will assist in, is just like facilitating that knowledge transfer to the service professional?
Absolutely. And also there is another area that most of the hotels and luxury brands are using AI is creating experiences. If I've really known this customer and having those bespoke experiences, how do you serve Charisma versus RJ? How do you serve Charisma in Europe and what preferences she has on vacation versus when she's working as a business traveler? So creating those micro experiences and rewarding the customer through rewards, through the app is also another area that a lot of hotels and other luxury brands are dabbling into.
That's really interesting. It enables the hospitality company to really provide a nuanced experience each time. It could be different. Is that actually happening? Has this been deployed?
Absolutely. Vegas is experimenting this at scale. If you see, they're also experimenting another use case is shortening the guest services line. So when you go and check into a hotel in Vegas, you will see that the first guest experience really starts when you check in. And it
Hmm.
should be long lines if there is a big conference. And now because they know the customer, there's a lot of data. How do you really fasten that process and have that first touch, first experience to be perfect? The white glove is how most hospitality companies are making an impact today.
Curious if you've seen AI being used for discretionary pricing. I would assume with all this data on customers, you can estimate the value of that customer. And so calibrate the offering services or products you provide, but then also calibrate the pricing simultaneously. Curious if you've seen any of that happening.
Yes, it is called dynamic pricing and it has a double-edged sword. One of the fast QSR brands, also quick service restaurants in retail sector, tried it. And when I say in QSR, value is a big thing. So you're touching a very different segment of customer and they're very touchy about value. So that did not go well. I will not name the brand on the podcast, but it is one of the famous burger brands. We love their French fries across the world. So what's really happening is dynamic pricing in Uber, for example. We know that. We live that every day. If it rains, algorithm changes. But when we really touch it through brands, it is a double-edged sword. Companies are experimenting with it, but every time they roll it out, they have to really be careful about the segment of customer they're trying to touch.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand why there's backlash if you try to do it within a QSR or, yeah, familiar with Uber, and one can understand why there's dynamic pricing there. But on the luxury side, I would think that there's more room to play there just because you have a target demographic that has the ability to spend and they value their time.
Absolutely. So they do it through the famous watch brand, Rolex or Hermes. We know that most of the luxury brands at that higher segment create scarcity. And that's how the dynamic pricing is driven. A particular Kelly would be very different for one person versus the other. The magic is not in the hands of just an algorithm, is also the luxury seller, your personal seller in the store, in the boutique that really knows you well. So it's a combination of human in the loop.
And so, thinking about your position now within Genpact, how do you approach building your team and establishing the culture that you'd like amongst your team members?
That was a pivot question. My leadership style is mentoring and coaching and investing. And I really feel across the board, not just in the current role I am in, especially the advent of AI, are under investing in people. we should definitely upskill, train the high value work and the high value workers that we can and have retention, because there's really value in that last mile tribal knowledge. Somebody who's been working with you for 20 years, 15 years in the firm has a lot of knowledge of clients, of the work that we do. So not the same stroke for everybody, but the culture is driven by mostly, can we upskill, train, invest in the talent that we want to keep?
Mm-hmm. And what drew you to Genpact? I mean, there's a lot of different consulting firms out there, a lot of places you could have decided to go in your career. What made you choose Genpact?
I really think the industry overall is reinventing itself, and so is the firm. And it's a great role, and it's differentiated because we're not a traditional consulting firm like the Big Four, and we're not traditional execution firm, which we say SI or system integrators. We are doing very high value work, and from applied advisory means advising the clients to execution. So you cannot just advise a client and walk away. You have to actually execute the strategy on that you have advised the CXO. So the role is exciting. I am enjoying making impact to the industry. It lets me do that. I'm talking to the market. I'm creating signals and creating a lot of valuable futuristic work for our clients.
Excellent. We're coming up on time, entering the tail end of the conversation. I have two final questions. One is, can you tell us about a person who's had a profound influence on you?
Great. I would say in my personal life, of course, it would be my parents, both my father and my mother, but I really draw inspiration from business leaders. And one of the business leaders that I really personally draw inspiration is Indira Nooyi. She's the former chairman and CEO of PepsiCo. And watching her rise to lead one of the world's largest corporations while staying really true to her roots, her values, her identity, and pioneering a woman of color in the C-suite was profoundly inspiring to me. She demonstrated that you don't have to compromise on who you are to reach the highest levels of business leadership. And she is an advocate of performance with purpose, which is very close to my heart.
Last question. Can you tell us about a charity, cause, or other endeavor that you're passionate about?
I would say America India Foundation, AIF. I sit on the Tri-State Board, and it is one of the few charities that is founded in the US, creating impact in emerging markets. India is one of the future emerging markets. It's currently booming, futuristic economy. I do that and creating impact for education of girls. So that's one area. And the second area is Asian American Business Development Center. I'm driving impact through AI Alliance. So how do you really create policy and advocacy for AI, not only for the people who have access to it, but also the underprivileged and the future generations.
Wonderful. Well, Charisma, want to thank you again for taking the time. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you, RJ. It was such a pleasure to sit down with you today.